Hey, Jeannie Lynch coming to you today. Many of you have been requesting more information around the intuitive side of my practice. And in fact, many people that come to me, they're fascinated. First off, they think I have all the answers for them, and that could not be farther than the truth. My full job as a coach and an intuitive coach is to assist them and letting them and teaching them that they absolutely no one should be answering any questions for them or telling them what to do in any way. That is not the job of an intuitive healer. Is truly assisting them to help connect them to higher self. So today I share with you some of the language to hopefully educate you and to just teach you to stand on your own. How does that sound? Let's dive in today on my channel. Cleaning up points I'd like to make. I mentioned in the opening, we're all intuitive. I don't think that being intuitive is woo-woo, although I think the skeptics out there think it is. I think even having the word intuitive on my business card can be off-putting for people. I work with so many people that I would say would be put off by that, but they're so intuitive themselves. So I think that's fascinating. I think to be a good reader too, you need to have really good boundaries. And I don't mean to talk smack about somebody, but that I don't know a lot about. But the Long Island medium, her whole persona about I have a hard time with because I don't think she has good boundaries. So if you love her, I apologize. Truth is, I can't get 2 minutes in with her. I can't watch any of her stuff because I feel viscerally a response to her, pulling some guy aside in the grocery store and saying, your dead mother's behind you. And here's what she's telling me to tell you. That's a boundary. So I think when we're working with people who, in doing this work, you need to be really sensitive to the timing of assisting them and giving them information, and you need to have really good boundaries. I also believe that spirit sees us like water throwing downhill. If you dropped a glass of water over a mountain, it would truly find the fastest path. I know that. And I also know that's what happens when information is coming through, that if they think that I'm open, and by the way, I'm jacked open, not all the time, but when I'm opening myself to information, it's accessible and it's there. If I'm sitting next to somebody who's not, and let's say spirit wants to come through for that person, they're nudging me. Well, I'm not going anywhere until I think they're ready. So it's never about what spirit wants, it's about what the person you're assisting, where they're at. Do you agree? I hope so. The other part about being intuitive that I want to share before I get into some stories today about hearing and feeling and when I first started doing this work is it lined up really well with me as a person because I was a banker for years, but banking is just probability. Doing a loan for somebody is just the math, right? And so is being intuitive. It literally is math. So let me explain that. And I'm sure if you're intuitive and you use this as for your own life, you know that's exactly what it is. This is a great example. If you got into a car and you drove really fast and you text and listened to music the whole time and you drove a really fast car and you didn't wear a seatbelt and you had to get an hour to get to work, the probability of you having an accident is higher. It's certainly higher than the B, right? The person who doesn't drive, the person who, when they do drive, they just go to the grocery store and back, 10 and 2 on the wheels, a little nervous, so they're really paying attention. They would never think about turning on the radio or texting because they're all about safety. That person's probability, right? It's math. So intuitively, if someone came to me and said, what are the chances of something bad happening to me in the car? And I knew the math, well, do you really have to be intuitive to figure it out? That's how available I think being intuitive is. It's just common sense with the math that's in front of you. Don't you agree? And if you don't, hopefully I've shifted that a little bit for you. Let's share a couple stories about what happens when, you are listening and when you are learning and you are tapped in and you are kind of coming to terms and you are, let's say that's you, and you're looking to develop this for yourself. Here's some things that helped me. I want to share them with you today. Okay, so first off, you have to have a meditation practice. Let me start that again. If you're trying to get tuned in, tapped in, turned on to the whole idea of, information coming through, and you want to listen to your higher self, and you're so busy just ranting and running all day and never have any quiet time to yourself, then guess what? It's never going to happen. You need to have some type of a decompression practice in order for the information to come through. So if you are an intuitive and you do this work and you don't have that practice in place, I can't even go there with you. That's how much I believe this, okay? So the first thing is you need to have some downtime to actually put yourself into a position where you can receive information. Okay, that's the first thing. When you start hearing, I think what happens when you start hearing, don't forget, be careful if you tell people you hear. They were putting people in insane asylums years ago for hearing voices in their head. And I know you can be mentally ill and that can happen, so that's not the type of hearing I'm talking about. I want to explain what it feels like when you start to hear. Another example of driving in your car, you could just be going down the road and having thoughts, what's my agenda look like for the day? What's the next exit I'm supposed to be taking? And so you're just thinking. We've all been there, right? And all of a sudden, when you're hearing or when you get information, it literally feels like somebody interrupts you, changes the station, puts a note in your face, and it says, call mom. And you get this almost like this emergency or this it's information that just like comes in really fast out of nowhere. If that happens to you, do me a favor, you're getting information. Pay attention to it. Have you ever gotten into the car and thought, did I turn the curling iron off? And it just, logically or slams into your head at that moment. If you're listening, you're going to get out of the damn car and you're going to go back in and you're going to check. And my sense is, sure enough, that the curling iron's still plugged in. When you think you're just thinking, we have thoughts, and if you're someone who has random thoughts 24 hours a day, yeah, the challenge is there. Back to the point of meditation, you're going to need to work through that. But you will know when you take a breath and you start to work with this more and more. In fact, here's what happens. Once they know, wherever that information is coming through, they know they got your ear, get ready. Information is coming through, okay? Hey, Jeannie Lynch, really excited to announce a lot more of my channel about what it is to be intuitive. Over the course of the next month, I'll be posting some really cool stories about when I first started to hear. Can't wait to share. So stay watching. Those videos will be coming out soon on my channel. And oh yeah, thanks again for being part of my community, and make sure you hit that little bell and the little notifications so you know when these videos go up. Have a fabulous day. Namaste.